What's going on, guys? It's Elias. Welcome back to another video. We are basically all done with the Type R. It runs. I've been driving it around. I put it back on stilts to change the oil. And today I want to share with you guys a short video because this is, in my opinion, one of the must-do things you should get if you do your own oil changes for your Civic Type R or any Civic, any 10th gen Civic this actually works for. And that's, of course, this FlyinGato valve. More specifically, the F316L. The reason I went with this one is because you can get the F106. There's a few different ones that have the same thread. In case you're wondering what thread that is the M14 1.5. But the reason I went with this one is because it's got the elbow. So the two reasons I like these valves a lot is, first, because when you change the oil as much as I do, when you're racing a car a lot, when you're tracking a car a lot, you basically have to, in my opinion, you should change the oil, I would say, at least every 2 track days. And if you have specifically a very hot and heavy track day, then change it after every track day. But I change it very, very often. I do plan to change it a significant amount. And every time you change the oil pan, the drain plug gets used, right? So you got to change the drain plug every once in a while. It will get warped a little bit, and you got to make sure you set the torque at the proper spec, right? So if you're changing the oil up, you know that you got to set it at the proper spec, and if you don't set it at the proper spec, then you're gonna have trouble. Well, I got this because instead of having to unscrew the oil pan plug, all I got to do is hit this switch right here. So this switch right here is all I have to do is to flip it down and open it and close it. The second reason, well, let's get into the car and show you what the second reason is. All right, so here we are under the car looking at my beautifully heat wrapped PRL down pipe, or front pipe, I'm sorry. Also looking at the Hasport rear engine mount. And I just refreshed all of the bolts back here. This is one of them, brand new. No longer rusty or missing as some of them were, unfortunately. But we're not here to look at that. We're here to look at why I do recommend you get a FlyinGato valve. So looking at here, this is the transmission pan. This is the oil pan. As you can see, the drain plug, when you take it out, oil drains this way, right? So it goes back that way. And you have to kind of position your drain pan right over here. As you can see, I've had a couple of incidents already. This is actually radiator fluid. I believe that is as well, but it's indicative of what can happen if you miss your mark with this thing. And the problem is, as soon as you open it, it shoots out and you end up having your oil pan here. But then after a little bit of time, you have to keep on moving the oil pan and making sure that you don't miss the stream. That happens if you have a lift, if you don't have a lift, all of that stuff. So what I did instead of just relying on this drain plug is, with this, as you can see, it's got a little valve here that you can move around. It moves around freely. And once I screw it in here, I can just move around the valve. I can even connect a little hose here, a plastic or a rubber hose, and drain it into whatever I want. Or just put the bucket or whatever I'm using right here, and it'll just drain right down. It's perfect. Now, what are some of the negatives? Well, eventually the valve itself will go bad. When that is, you know, it could be never, it could be, you know, lifetime of the car, but it is a possibility that the valve in here that you know, there's a little clicker you push down and you use the valve, it could get stuck. And if that gets stuck, then you have to take it off and put a new one on. Not a big deal. Other negative is this costs about 30 bucks. I'll put a link in the description for this very one so you guys can know where it is and where to get it. It's an Amazon link. You can buy it. You can install it yourself if you do your own oil changes. It really simplifies things. But it does cost 30 bucks, whereas this bolt, you can, if you reuse it not too often, it comes with a car, so you can say it's free. However, like I said, if you're going to change the oil as much as I am, I've already changed the oil on this car, I don't know, 4 or 5 times maybe. It only has 12,000 miles. So that makes you realize that I change the oil very, very often on this thing, as I recommend for any track car. And so I'm going to wear this out, so I'll need to replace this. I went to look up the cost of this. I think it was $12 from OEM Honda. Not too bad, but for the price of, I guess, 3 of those, I can buy 1 of these, save myself a whole bunch of hassle, save myself from possibly stripping the oil pan if I'm not careful. I've done that in the past. In my old Civic, my first ever vehicle, the first ever car, I was too poor to pay for oil changes, so I did them myself, and I ended up stripping my oil pan. You guys know what I did? I put it back together, and I put, what did I put? I put JB Weld all over it. So every time I had to change the oil on it afterwards, I had to break the JB Weld, open this up, drain it, put it back on, and put new JB Weld on it. It was ugly, but it was a Civic wagon. But anyway, hope you enjoyed the video, guys. Can't wait to finish this install here. If you guys are excited for me to get this car on the track, let me know in the comments. Please do be sure to subscribe if you haven't yet. I do appreciate those. Again, this is in the description, link in description. I recommend you get this if you have a Civic, any kind, this 10th gen Civic. You must get this. This thing is awesome. I have it actually for my for all my cars. I have these installed now because they're so convenient. They are so convenient. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Catch you next time. Peace.